Coming to you from Austin, Texas. It's currently 7:49 a.m. Austin, Texas, where I'm at. Central Standard Time. Wanted to share some hopefully interesting info on CTGx. Now, for those who have been paying attention the last couple of days, CTGx has been on a rampage, dude. Up 9,000% right now, and that's on the low end. If you can see here, yesterday we hit upwards of 58.58 XLM. So this thing has been flying. I saw these asset holders go from 6,000, 7,000 to 11, 12,000 in a couple of days. Volume has increased to above 1 million for the 24-hour period. So there's definitely some movement here. Things are looking bright. Now, if you see this, if you take a look at some of these CT, or not CT, if you look through Stellar Expert, and you start going through some of these tokens, you're going to notice that a lot of them don't have this liquidity rating yet. So this is a very good sign. So if you're calling it a scam, it's definitely not a scam. There's definitely liquidity here. If you look at this one, let me actually show you. You put this into perspective, right? So you see that right there. We're on the 1, 2, 3, 4th, almost 4th line. Let's put something here. Let's do something. Let me think of an example, man. Let's go to assets. Let's go to, what's a solid token? Let's go to XRP and here it is, right? So this is a legitimate asset. Interstellar Exchange. This is the true anchor for XRP. So when you buy this version, you're buying a legit version. If you look at the liquidity rating, matches up what CTGx has. So what does that tell you? That means that there's some genuine liquidity, right? You don't have to think about it too much. It's not that difficult to understand, right? Liquidity equals cash, gives you the ability to pull some money out, right? So I guess, the reason I'm talking about this is because, there's a lot of naysayers out there who, I don't know what their problem is, whatever. I just ignore them. But obviously this isn't a scam, if you see here. Right, so there's obviously some liquidity. Look at the overall trading volume. I've been following CTG for a minute, and this shit just exploded overnight. It has not been like this. As a matter of fact, back in mid-March, you had the ability to buy 1 million CTGx tokens for $72. So it's hard to believe at the time, right? But that's kind of an example of not taking advantage of opportunities when you see them. Whether it could potentially be a scam or not, the point of it is that there's a possibility that it's not. It's a possibility that you could hit it, right? It could be it, and to me, that's enough to say, I'm jumping in. Whether it's a couple bucks to maybe larger amounts of money, whatever it is. The point is that there's a possibility that this could be legit, and given all the shit happening in the economy right now, I mean, who would want to take the chance? But that's kind of besides the point. Let's continue on with CTGx. So what did I find that's interesting? Let me jump into that, right? Let me just do a little more digging on this. So things are looking good, man. Things are looking good. 3 million in volume. Most of this is in the last couple of days. I think the Binance listing is in, let's pull this shit up, 3 days. So 3 days to the Binance listing. So did some digging, right? Did some more digging yesterday. I had a knack for, I don't know why I couldn't get certain pieces of information off my mind. And I found some interesting stuff, man. Check this shit out. Right, so CTGx, man. Funny. Start off with a funny quote that I found in one of the Telegram chats. You never ask a woman how old she is, and the CTGx told her how many coins he owns. All right, so just starting the video with this little quote, but let me dive into the main objective here. So, important note: Stellar is not a fork of Ripple, contrary to what everybody thinks, right? So, when people think of XLM and Stellar, they think, oh, it's a fork of Ripple, but in reality, that information is incorrect. Stellar was the original code base that was the fork of Ripple, but apparently was short-lived. It went live in 2014, and it just didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. So they scrapped it and started a brand new protocol from scratch that they created a Stellar core for, that they now call the Stellar Consensus Protocol, right? Or the Stellar Network. So wanted to just clear that up because there is a lot of confusion with that. I do see it everywhere. Everybody says that XLM is a fork of Ripple and XRP, but it's not. It's a completely separate code, completely different. Completely. If you just read through the white paper and take a look, I don't even think you really have to understand it that much to see that it's a very different code, in the sense that the initial algorithm is completely different. And the main reason for that is because it's geared towards peer-to-peer, right? So one way I like to see this is that Stellar can do without Ripple and XRP, but XRP and Ripple cannot do without Stellar. And that's a very hard concept to think about, given that, our understanding of Ripple and XRP is it is the best digital asset, and it is the best digital asset. I'm here to tell you that everything I do for my investments are geared towards eventually I want to put everything back in XRP, right? Because it's going to be worth a lot of money, right? But not financial advice, right? I got to say that because, people go fucking crazy. Shit doesn't happen in a month, right? But so let's dive into this a little bit. Number one, what problem is Stellar truly attempting to solve? Right, so I got this from directly from one of the publications for the white paper on the protocol. I like to dig into these protocol guides, to be honest with you. I did a lot of programming in high school, college, a little bit, mainly high school. But when I did program, I loved it. I did it in the afternoons. I actually stopped going to basketball practice because I liked programming in a sense. I used to do like competitions and shit. But I liked it because it makes you think in algorithms. It makes you think it makes you think with logic, right? Because you're building out something that you're having to almost think through different situations and scenarios, and how are you gonna put that into an algorithm to allow information to flow from A to B, right, as smoothly as possible to an end user, right? But in this sense, right, sometimes if you just dive into these fucking protocols, dude, like you'll get some hints as to what's going on. It's not that fucking hard, right? So with this, right, Stellar, what's it trying to solve? Basically, it's trying to solve the issue with agreement systems, right? Now, a good example of this, I think they describe it here, but I'll include this link so you guys can read through this. I'll just kind of talk through it the way I perceive it, at least, right? So the way I see it is Stellar is solving the issue with consensus, right? But in a different sense than some of the other protocols, right? What Stellar allows you to do is that protocol itself is based off a 33% consensus, right? So what technology allows us to do now is instead of creating things around a fragile system, meaning something that, for example, the economy, right? It's based off commercial debt, right? So it's like a snowball effect, right? It's getting worse because that one person is leveraging, another person is leveraging that leverage. And it's just it's an anti-fragile system in the sense that as soon as one thing goes wrong, the entire thing just collapses. The whole house of cards comes down, right? Because it's built around trying to avoid the bad actor, right, as opposed to incorporating it. And that's what a lot of these protocols nowadays try to solve, right? They're trying to deal with the issue of fragility. Another example of this is apparently with trees, for example. The way you would reduce or minimize like forest fires, for example, is you would strategically take down certain areas of trees, right, in patches, so that if a forest fire does start, it's contained, right? So it's the same concept here, except in a protocol with bad actors, right, involving the money system, right? So in this sense, there's a reason for that. And I think the reason for that matches along with the narrative of what's happening now with everything with Trump and the white hats and infiltration of the money system and taking down the cabal, right, the deep state. What this allows them to do, right, if you really look at the protocol, it allows for a 33% consensus to allow basically a turn of the tides. What do I mean by that? So for example, right, let's say that me and a couple people agree on something, right? But let's say that what we agree on, even though we agree on it, maybe it's not technically the right thing to do, right? Or maybe it's not the correct answer to whatever we're trying to obtain, whatever goal it is, right? But that's not the point, right? The point is not to get it right, right? The point is that you want decentralization, which means that you want a consensus to influence or, basically directly influence the outcome that you're going to get. It could be good or bad, right? It doesn't matter. The point of this protocol is to have decentralization allow that decision, right, to be made on its own, right? So that way whatever rules are set up because, hey, there's a consensus, a fair consensus that has basically come together and decided that, hey, this is the route we want to go. But by allowing that 33%, you always keep the door open to being able to overturn that decision, right? Because without that ability, we're kind of just back in square one, right? We're kind of back into a system where we're just part of the system now again, right? So, 1 second. So, I mean, that's kind of a good idea of why I think they're using Stellar for all this shit. You can find this shit in the protocol, dude. It's easy to understand. But let's dive into what I actually found, right? So, interesting shit, man. Check this out. So, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this video. It was dropped in 2019. Some dude named Vandermeer. Let me open this up. I'm just play this through, man. Let you guys check it out if you haven't. You can fast forward if you've already seen it.
Begin transmission. Greetings, I am Ross Vandermeer. There have been many questions about myself in the XRP community. I would like to put some of those questions to sleep this evening. Number 1, I am not a time traveler. Number 2, I have no dealings with anyone in Canada. Number 3, I live in the UK and have been in finance for over 30 years. My anonymity is important to me, so this is the way I have chosen to communicate with the community on Twitter. I can assure you that I am indeed real. Now, let's get to the crux of this message. XRP, the digital asset that will run the world's economy. The SEC has filed a frivolous lawsuit against Ripple. This lawsuit will go absolutely nowhere. I can guarantee this. Once this lawsuit is settled, which will be soon, XRP will rise to all-time highs. Exchanges will relist and commence trading of XRP, and it will rise even more. Regulations will be established, and XRP will gain clarity, which will make it rise even more, to heights that will be mind-blowing to the naysayers. Prepare yourself, because you have no idea what is about to happen. End transmission.
Right. So, great fucking video, dude. Gets me pumped every time I hear that shit. So why did I show that video? Let me get into it, right? So if you notice here, Ross Vandermeer's logo. Now, once again, all I'm doing here is showing you guys connections that I found and going to allow you guys to formulate your own opinions. You know, I'm not saying this is 100% connected. I'm not saying it's 100% legit. All I'm saying is that there's some interesting connections here that cannot be overlooked, right? They just simply cannot be overlooked. Unless you want to purposely overlook them and say that, hey, there's no way this could be. Yeah, it's your decision. But if you want to keep an open mind, if you want to potentially see the indirect connections and potentially, you know, all these, potentially trying to understand how these things are connected, check this out, right? So the logo, first thing that I noticed. I remember I saw this video, saw it again recently, and then it just clicked the other day. I was like, dude, wait a minute. The logo, right? So the logo matches exactly what CTGx logo is, right? So here it is. Matches exactly like Ross Vandermeer's logo. And, you know, could it be coincidence? I don't know, maybe. Right, maybe, but let's keep diving a little more, see what you guys think. Next thing I found is in one of the recent CTGx emails talking about their Binance listing. They I don't know if many people noticed this. I think people just overlooked this because not many pointed it out, but it was right in our face. They put the Ripple logo right on their email. So could it be possibly connected to Ripple and XRP? I think so, and I'm gonna show you why. Okay, so here's one thing that it's an important thing to understand, right? What I've noticed about things going on right now, it's not it's important not what's being said, but what's not being said. That's what's really important, right? What is the common theme within something, which means that it could be something that's being said or not being said, but it's a different perspective, right? What's the common denominator between all these topics, entities, whatever you're looking at, right? Whatever objective it is, or subject, whatever subject it is. So if you ask the question, you know, what is the common denominator between CTGx, Ripple and XRP, and Bitcoin? And a couple other things, right? Like Mr. Pool, Q. What's one thing about them, right, that they have in common? There's some kind of mystery between who's behind them, right? Who found them, who made them, who's running them, right? No one fucking knows. But to me, that's a connection, right? We can all agree to disagree. It's a connection, right? There's no doubt that we don't know who's behind these. We have ideas, but we have nothing set in stone that tells us, hey, this is that person, right? No one's come out and said it. There's certain people that are giving clues or indications that they could be connected to it, but we don't know for sure. But that's the common denominator between BTC, Ripple XRP, CTGx, right? Mr. Pool, and Q. No one knows who the fuck's behind them, right? No one knows who's running this shit. It's a mystery till this day, you know. But let's go further, right? I have some interesting connections, right? So who else out there has a mysterious origin? Mr. Pool and Q plus, who has hinted at those particular entities, right? Who has made some kind of indication, not necessarily indicating that, oh, it's connected, but what's have you guys ever picked up on anything interesting between maybe some of the people we follow on social media, Twitter, Telegram, Truth Social, whatever it is, that could be connected to Pool, Mr. Q? And I can already think of one more person that's not here, is VK. That's another person that we have really no clue about, and some other media accounts, right? But I mainly wanted to bring up these two because after doing some digging, I found some interesting connections with McAfee, right? So if you look at some of the pictures, if you just kind of take the time to kind of go through some of the stuff that McAfee posts, it's a lot hidden in there, man. A lot of gems regarding information. But if you look at some of the pictures, this one was posted April 17th, right? Q, and that's his default picture for his profile. So what's he trying to tell us? I don't know. Is he indicating that he's connected to it? Maybe. Is it a fake account? Maybe, right? But let's keep going. He also posted this. Posted July 30th, John Poole. I'm not saying it's directly connected to Mr. Poole, but why would he post this, right? John Poole, Mr. Poole. I don't know. It's a tough one, right? But just wanted to show how there's some kind of indirect connection. There has to be. Or it's a coincidence, one of those, right? But let's keep counting those coincidences then, right? What was the original intent of Bitcoin? Well, the original intent of Bitcoin was decentralization, peer-to-peer payment systems, or so we think, right? Because, and I can share this on a different video, but I think it was part of an operation to usher in what's happening now, right? That had multiple facets to it and was basically a chess move to accomplish a lot of things at once, right? So, but I'll save that for another time. But just simply looking at the white papers for Stellar, and if you look at the Lightning Network is going to be a layer 2 network that's basically going to correct all the issues with Bitcoin, the scalability, everything wrong with the speed, the cost of transactions, and that's going to be running on the Stellar network, right? So that's interesting right there, right off the bat. And you can look it up yourself. Just simply search, Stellar Lightning Network, and look what you get, right? Now, if I keep going a little bit, you'll see some more connections here, right? So reading through one of the papers that I found from the Stellar Development Foundation, if you'll see all these interesting numbers pop up, like this one. At the center is a cluster of 17 de facto tier 1 validators. 17 de facto tier 1 validators run by SDF, Satoshi Pay, Keybase, CoinQuest, or whatever, however you spell that or pronounce that, right? So I'll come back to that shortly. I'll come back to why that's important. So why am I bringing up a connection between McAfee, Q, and Stellar? Well, because McAfee had a countdown the other day, right? And he had a countdown before. He's had a couple, and nothing happens, right? So we think, and I haven't gone back to see what other events might have taken place after, but as far as something noticeable, nothing's happened, right? Except for this one. This one kind of, I don't know how I got to this topic, or I don't know how I got here, but I started realizing that the CTGx run that just started, all right, so the McAfee countdown ended right here, right, May 15th, May 16th, and not even a full day later, this fucking run starts, right? So the countdown didn't end exactly when the countdown ended, but I mean the run didn't start exactly when the countdown ended, but I mean it's noticeably in the same range. Like zoom out a week, it's the same shit, dude. Right? And let's go further, right? So an email sent by CTGx stating, they basically sent an email saying that they're going to liquidate part of their BTC holdings, which happens to stand around 1 million plus, right? As you see here. then we will exchange it to XLM and pump CTGx price up along with liquidity, right? So just by this and the information I just showed you, could kind of explain or kind of show why they've been so secretive about this shit. Maybe they're trying to keep it a secret. Why isn't that ever an option, right? Why do people always got to resort to the fact that everything's a scam? I think that's conditioning also, you know? I think we got to break that conditioning. Do your research and you can break that conditioning, to be honest with you, because it's right there, dude. The information is right there. They're literally sending us emails telling us they're building a narrative, but the narrative also matches the information out there, right? Number 10, Satoshi Pay, Bitcoin Lightning, Stellar, Satoshi Nakamoto, Pendulum, all connected, dude. Pendulum, a second layer blockchain that aims to connect Stellar to the wider DeFi ecosystem by introducing smart contracts. Stellar. Satoshi Pay was the investor, or one of the people working on Pendulum, along with, I forgot, I think it was the Stellar Development Foundation or something else. But Bitcoin Lightning, Satoshi Pay, all connected to Bitcoin, right? All connected to Gemma Caleb, all connected to OpenCoin, Ripple, XRP, all connected, dude. The beginning and the end, Alpha, Omega. It ends where it begins, right? Started with Bitcoin, ends with Bitcoin, right? So they see going forward. Many consider Lightning Network to be Bitcoin's best solution to its current scalability issues. One thing is for sure, the more coins that adopt Lightning Network type protocols, the cheaper it is going to be to send crypto around the globe, right? So you'll find some more information here. Stellar looking to incorporate Lightning Network, Stellar partners, crypto, Satoshi Nakamoto's, blah, 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 right? So back to this over here, right? Back to this one. Where is it? This right here, 17. Remember the 17 I showed you guys earlier? The 17, the cluster of tier 1 validators, 17 of them. So if you go here, if you look at one of McAfee's posts, he dropped a public key. Right now, this public key, if you look at it, I did some digging and I found this, right? Somebody converted it to base 64 code, and results reveals an email message. So that domain of that email was original17 at protonmail.com. So remember that 17 I showed you? Call that a coincidence, but it's getting very, very hard to pass by, right? So next one, McAfee posts a pic with David Steele. David Steele comes out with a video a while back discussing how they've been tracking all the money the deep state has been laundering, which sums up to 100 trillion USD in the markets and 100 trillion USD that has been used for human trafficking, drugs, etc. And play a little bit of that video, show you guys if you haven't seen it.
We have it all. All of the illicit wealth in the world has been tracked by the National Security Agency for the past 15 years. We now know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Wall Street has stolen $100 trillion from Main Street with naked short selling. We also know that Wall Street has laundered $100 trillion in dirty money from trafficking in children and women and drugs and guns and gold. I can never tire of saying that 90% of the people in the U.S. government, the U.S. military, the U.S. intelligence community are good people trapped in a bad system. The secret intelligence community serves the deep state. It does not serve the American public. And CIA in particular has been doing torture, rendition and torture, drone assassination, regime change, helping to start wars based on lies, all because war and trafficking in humans and drugs and so forth are a profit center for Wall Street and the deep state. And once the president gets Benny into NSA and processes 100% of what we have at NSA, we have every single one of you by the balls. You cannot survive this. You have one out. The Truth and Reconciliation out is make the deal, motherfucker, or you are going to die.
So boom. Fucking love that video. I'll include it in the fucking notes for you guys, dude. But yeah, dude. So that's David Steele. But I think they announced him suicide. I'm not really sure. I didn't do that much digging on that, but I remember that video, and I remember seeing this that McAfee posted with him. So there you go, man. Some more interesting connections to the financial markets and what's been going on, right? So let's go on a little further. CTGx mining. So you can look this up on the SEC website. You'll find more information on CTGx. Looks like they're involved now. Basically, if you search this if you search this information on the SEC website, you'll see that they're a legit company. They are legitimately mining rare earth metals, gold, silver, lithium. So it's getting interesting, right? Especially with their promise, CTGX's promise of, what was it? Let me see if I can pull this shit up for you guys. I don't know what you guys are, man. You guys got to see it to believe it. I'm the same way. If you go here, what the fuck was I looking for, dude? About. Let's find out. So, look at the report. Talks about how they're, mining gold, Southeast Asia, 5 million ounces of gold. And the thing is that if you look up this information, or if you pull up that SEC website, you're gonna see that the narrative that they're projecting and the information that I'm finding is matching up. It's all lining up, man. It's hard to say this is a lie right now. So let's keep digging a little more. But basically, CTGx, I found this picture right here with on McAfee's page that he posted a while back. Now this could be somewhat of a stretch, right? But to me, it's like, well, okay, that's indication that there has to be some kind of connection, right? At least I think, right? You guys make the decision on your own. But I did see he posted this, right? And he posted another color as well. But it's interesting because there's a boat like that, very similar on this logo right here, Sackett's Harbor Brewing Company, right? And Sackett's look at this right here, Harbor Brewing Company Inc. will change its name to CTGx Mining. So basically, if you look at the SEC registration form, at some point this was a subsidiary of CTGx, and they changed their name to CTGx. So another interesting point right there. It's hard to pass, right? This is another piece of information. It's just hard to overlook. So what am I trying to get to, right? So could McAfee be Satoshi? I cannot say for sure, but here's some additional interesting info regarding Satoshi and CTGx. And credits to my boy Crypto Knowledge. You can find him on Twitter, Telegram, but refer back to number 9 above to see how many Bitcoin CTGx claims to have, and then look how many Satoshi is supposed to have, right? So if you remember the email stated they had 1 million plus that they're going to liquidate for an injection of capital. If you look here, right, here's some 100 Bitcoin does the inventor Satoshi own. Satoshi is sought to have mined more than 1 million BTC in total, right? 1 million, so matches the numbers. Satoshi Nakamoto is supposed to have 1 million Bitcoin, which is 5% of the total Bitcoins, right? And there's some more pictures he's posted. He's posted this picture before on his website. On his Telegram. And this is another interesting one that I think people overlooked, because I overlooked it too, and I even searched it and it still didn't click. Not because it didn't click, but because nobody else was talking about it. So I figured, hey, maybe it's just like him referencing this. But I don't think that's the case anymore. I think he's trying to tell us something. If you look at one of his photos, he has an embedded message here saying, "The Times, January 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout." So if you basically type this in, you're going to search and you're going to find that that's the embedded message on the Genesis blockchain for Bitcoin, which I think I want to say that that's the first block that was mined. In other words, and he had this message. So why would he direct us directly towards that? So another interesting thing not to overlook. And one more thing that I find interesting is that he did post this. If you guys remember, he clearly posted this. one of the file names under his Swarm vault that he has is titled Nakamoto. So are we gonna get to find out who Satoshi Nakamoto is when we get to this point? Maybe. Right? So things are getting interesting for sure, because who else is McAfee? He was a big advocate for the whole human traffic thing, and I know he was against Epstein, or I know he was I don't know, interesting stuff, right? So I'll let you guys do the digging on that. Lastly, so I don't want to take too much of you guys' time. Lastly, back to this shit right here. Remember Ross Vandermeer? Well, he has a Twitter, right? And he's active on it. At least I think it's him. I mean, I can only know so much, right? I can only know what I see. But this is his. He posted this on 5/20, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which is this week coming up that I'm in. Next week will be interesting for those with watchful eyes. Have a delightful weekend, and rest assured. What does that mean? Well, coincidentally, the fucking countdown for CTGx ends in 3 days on Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, are we about to see a massive fucking pump? Potentially, right? Given all the shit that we've seen this past couple weeks, some definite connections here. And I don't care what you say, right? You can call it a scam. As a matter of fact, yeah, call it a scam, right? Let's take that approach. Why don't you call this a scam? But open your mind up and see how it could potentially not be a scam if you just wanted to do that for shits and giggles, right? Just switch your perspective a little bit and then take that approach, and you're gonna see that this is interesting, right? Here's this one. You guys remember the pool picture, Mr. Pool picture? See if I'll pull this shit up right here. Let me see. See if I can pull this up for you guys. Do you guys remember this? So Mr. Poole posted a bunch of these once. Bang, bang. I'm not saying it's connected. I'm just saying that this picture has 2 crosses on his eyes, and so does this one. And it has this smiley face with lines going across it like this one. I'm not saying it's connected. I'm just saying they look the same. So you guys have a good day. Enjoy your week. Till next time.